What you've always got to do is look and see what are people willing to pay for property in this area, because that's exactly how much real estate is worth. It doesn't matter necessarily what PropStream says, PropWire, Zillow, the county assessed. What really matters is what are people willing to pay, and so that's what you've always got to determine utilizing comps. So let's go into PropWire, and I'll show you what kind of range we're looking at for this property. So was bought for $51,000. We've got Zestimate of 100 grand. We got PropWire saying 133. Let's go ahead and find out what is this actually worth. So here are the comps, and we're always going to make sure that we're staying close to the subject property. Here's a subject property, and we also want to be looking at relevant homes. So if this was built in 1925, we cannot compare it to a house that was built in 2010. It's just not apples to apples, even if it's the same bed, bath, square footage. So we're going to try to keep this as close as we possibly can. So what that means is we're going to go the same number of bedrooms, same number of bathrooms. And I actually only want to look at property that was built within 10 years. So that could be up or down. And then square footage, I'm going to go plus or minus 30%. That way I'm just filtering out houses that are not similar. And let's have a look. Okay. And so you can see distance, these are all extremely close. We're not going beyond 0.25 miles. We're just trying to keep it as tight as possible. Now, an appraiser, they are going to go beyond this, but this is just a trick that we use to try to make sure we're not getting into an area that could be totally different, especially like a high crime area. For instance, your property might be here, and right here could be, the start of a new area where there's a high crime rate. And so just keeping it tight is going to help us avoid that. So what kind of comps do we have, and what are we looking at? So we do have one for 100 grand right here, 127, 75, 197. So that is a 960 square feet. Lot size is the exact same. Year built is the exact same. 3-1. So everything about this is the exact same. And you can see this was May 5th, 2025. And so that's fairly recent. Everything here is the exact same, but is it an outlier? Let's see. Let's keep going. After that, we do have another one here, 3-1, 1200. So it's a little bit bigger, but that one sold for $322,000. See that right there? And that was in April 17th. After that, we've got someone listing a property on the market for $310,000. Lot size very similar, year built the exact same, but an extra 200 square feet, still a 3-1 for $310,000. After that, and remember, we're not far out yet, right? We're still 0.09 miles. We got another 3-1, a little bit smaller, that sold for $211,000. We got another one for 220. This is a 3-1, 1,074 square feet, so about 100 more square feet. Lot size a little bit bigger, 220 grand, 220 grand. We've got 269 grand, 250 grand, $239,000. And so these are all super close. Now we're actually just 0.17 miles out. And these are all recent sales too. You got January 2025, June 2025, June 2025. After that, we've got another one on the market for $325,000, 3-1, 1152, also built 1925. So the thing is that there are so many comps here that are above the 200K range. Like there's so many that are here. It's wild. Exactly how many? Let's see. So one, this one's for sale, so we're not going to take that. 2, 3, 4. We'll leave the 198. We won't count that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So within 0.25 miles, looking at properties that are the exact same as far as bed, bath, and pretty much year built. So some of these are a little bit bigger, but not by much, maybe 100 square feet or 200 square feet. After that, yeah, there's about 10 properties that are selling north of 200 grand. So, and I mean, we got the ones on the market too for 310,000, and it's not unheard of. We can see this one sold for 322. I believe there was another one as well for 322. Let me take a quick peek. Okay, so far you've just got the one for $322,000, but after that, there are others that have hit the 269, 275, things like that. So as far as Zillow goes, it's definitely worth way more than 100 grand and way more than what the county has assessed. And so when you find properties like this, these can be extremely good opportunities because the market has it's gotten hot in this area so quickly that it hasn't shifted enough because a lot of these were actually in June. So we're in August now. So it was just about 2 months ago, a ton of sales before that in April, before that in January. So if someone comes in and they just take the Zillow, they're going to think, okay, you know what? This house is 100 grand. So getting it for $50,000 is a bad deal. But you could argue that the ARV is going to be somewhere between 225 up to, you could push for 300 grand. That's really the outlier though. You're going to have a really, really nice high quality finished product. That's definitely not the norm. But still, 220, 230, north of 200K, you're in a really good spot. So picking this property up for 51 grand is actually a really good deal when you're looking at a sales price of 225 or north, if it's fixed up with that.